Hello and welcome to the King's Forum podcast show. I have a very special guest with me today. Hi, Mac. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. We've been trying to do this for a while, so it's nice to get together, and we're here today.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a while. I've loved all your content, so it's really nice to have a proper chat today.
And the same with your stuff as we're talking off camera. So you're a purpose coach.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me. How did you find your purpose?
It was a long and sometimes painful journey. I've always had this feeling in me that I was made to do more, and the daily things we end up doing, I just felt like weren't important enough to me. I just felt like I was this yearning for like deeper meaning. But my first career out of university was just very standard. I went into corporate banking just because it was one of the only jobs that was presented to me. I thought that's where the money was. I did it and I immediately hated it. Was there for quite a few years. Then I tried a few different jobs, but each time I thought they were different, but they were actually more of the same sort of thing. And you kept thinking, God, please now the next one be the one that fixes it all. And it just wasn't. So after quite a few years of doing that and getting more and more kind of down about it, I hit a real low point, and my mental health really started suffering. I've always been someone with anxiety, but I started having panic attacks. And I think it was basically my body was forcing me to acknowledge what I was ignoring. And when I looked at my life, I realized it was almost like, of course I'm feeling like this, because I am not doing anything that I actually enjoy. It's just a whole routine of just soul-sucking activities. So I started seeing a therapist first, and then I started working with a coach. And it was those things that really turned my life around. I didn't realize that I was holding myself back, like I was my own worst enemy. And so I worked with them to kind of work through all these things that I felt like were keeping me stuck. And then I started like my own journey of self-exploration. So I started reviewing what I actually was good at and what I actually was passionate about. Because I whenever anyone asked what you're passionate about, I was like, I don't know, like TV and hanging with friends, but you can't really make a career out of that. But I dug a bit deeper, and the main thing I did was just start exploring, because I realized, your purpose isn't going to come find you sitting on your sofa. You have to go out and get it. So loads of exploration, tried lots of different things, just did a lot of self-introspection with the coaching and therapy. And through that, a combination of those, I found life coaching. And it was just click, light bulb moment. And ever since I found it, I was like, oh, this is what I've been searching for my whole life. And it's, I never thought I'd feel so passionate about something. And I love working on it. So I want to help other people find that, because I know what it's like to be searching for it and how much better it is once you've got it.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks for that good, concise breakdown of your career. That was really interesting. Thank you very much. Talk to me about your obstacles that you faced along the way, along this journey, because you said, you then went to get therapy and you had these light bulb moments, but how did you, because you still have to want to get help, and not everyone can see that within that. As I was talking off camera about being in a dark place, and your mental health can suffer because it is just like, your world is just going around in a circle. I do this, keep on doing similar jobs, feeling the same way. It's making me feel down, but I'm not really doing anything. How did you break that cycle? And what was it that came to you to be like, you know what, I actually need to go and get help for this, and I think that's what I need?
Yeah, it was a weird one. In some ways, I'm not 100%, but almost thankful I started having panic attacks, because for all the years before that, I was ignoring it and steadily getting worse. And so for me, it was almost like I hit a point where I couldn't do it anymore. So I had to get help. But I honestly recommend for everyone, like if you can, do therapy, do coaching, or even if you don't want to pay for it, like journal to yourself, but some sort of that in your life before, you know, don't wait for a crisis to happen before you try and get help, because it would actually help you along the way. So for me, it kind of like literally my body was forcing me to do something about it, because I couldn't sleep any night, and I was like, I just can't live like this. But also I think it was just a culmination of so many years of feeling rubbish about it, and it was getting worse, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So my main obstacle was myself. I felt, I used to think it was external things, like, how did people get into that? Oh, okay, well, they had a parent that did it, or, you know, some people just have passions from when they're young, and I'm not one of those people. But actually, it was my own mental blockers and limiting beliefs I didn't realize were holding me back. And the main ones were, I was approaching 30, and I always thought I'm not going to be one of those people that puts pressure on myself, but apparently I was, without me realizing it. And so I was only looking at certain types of jobs of what I thought was like acceptable or would earn a certain amount, or what my friends sort of did, because all my friends lived in London doing corporate jobs and had a certain lifestyle. So I was like, well, I can't really do much different from that, because otherwise I'm going to be on my own. And just things like, you know, I wanted to travel more and whatever, but I was like, oh, okay, but if I want kids at some point, just all this stupid stuff that I'd made up that was telling myself that I couldn't do X, Y, Z. So it left me only looking at, like, you know, 10 types of jobs, and I didn't like any of those. So the main obstacles to overcome were purely mindset. So it's weird because people see me as quite a confident person, and all my friends know me to be really confident, but I didn't realize my own self-confidence is actually quite low, and I had massive imposter syndrome. I really didn't, I'd always thought I wanted to own my own business, but I didn't think I actually had it in me to do it, because I was always a big procrastinator. I didn't feel motivated, and I thought, well, how would I ever achieve that? But now I've found it, I get on with loads of work, and I realize it's just because I hadn't found the right thing that actually motivates me. So yeah, I mean, the biggest obstacles were myself, but that's also a great thing, because, you know, you can change the way you think, and so it's all in your power to overcome it. You don't have to wait for external situations to change. And the mindset shift now is like, I genuinely believe I can do anything, and anyone can do anything as long as you set your mind to it. There's nothing you can't learn if you don't know how to do it. So yeah, I'm just continuously just trying to grow and become more and more aligned to myself. But that was the biggest thing.
Cool, thank you for that. Also, how important is it that you experienced all these things in your life so you can actually be a purpose coach? How important are your life experiences?
Like vital, really. Firstly, I wouldn't have become a coach without going through those. It's funny sometimes when we're in a dark place, we don't see any benefit to it, but in hindsight, like that, all feeling like that and getting really low is the things that led me to finding out about myself and being a lot happier. And so it's only with hindsight that you can kind of see that stuff. But weirdly, it makes you grateful for it, even though you didn't enjoy it at the time. Definitely. But especially for me, because the people I'm dealing with and working with are exactly where I was quite a few years ago. So I'm basically talking to myself, which makes it a lot easier to empathize. Like, I'm a very empathetic person anyway, but I've been through the exact struggles, and my clients, when I speak to them and they're talking about how they felt, I know exactly how that feels. And I think quite often when you're in that position, it can feel quite lonely, because I know for myself, my friends didn't really get it. They all seemed fine doing jobs and living lives they weren't that fulfilled by. And so you start to think, maybe I'm crazy, maybe it's just me. And so I think it's really important to have people who 100% understand it and the challenges, because it's not going to be an easy journey. It does take work and it can be scary. So I don't sugarcoat that for people, but it is 100% possible. And so, yeah, I think I wouldn't be able to do my job properly if I hadn't been through all of that, and exactly the same as my clients.
Cool. So what motivates you, Mac?
Mostly, this will sound like I'm making it up and it's a bit cliche, but making the world a better place. I've always had this desire to help people. So I've always done a lot of charity work. I went to work at a charity at one point because I thought it'd give me a sense of purpose, but I didn't feel like I was helping people in the way I wanted to. But generally with my friends and everything like that, I'm always the person that people go to for advice. And in my life choices, I really care about making the world a better place. Like, I'm an environmentalist, I'm vegan. I try and do what I personally can within my sphere to impact the world positively in some way. And so now, you know, coaching people through hard times in their life to make the most of life is something really important to me, because I think, you know, I feel really proud that I'm helping people not only thrive but just really enjoy life. So that's my main driver. Another one is freedom. I'm like a real bird. I hate being tied down. I love travel. I love emotional freedom to just be, you know, exactly who you are. So freedom's definitely one of my main motivators. And my last one would probably be fun. I'm all about living life. We've got one, well, that we know of, we've got one life and you have to make the most of it. And I think life's too short to be doing stuff you don't enjoy day in, day out. So I'm all about adding pockets of fun into your life, which is why all my programs, it's about not only finding your life purpose, but also bringing more purpose into like all parts of your life, you know, to get more enjoyment out of it. And that's the whole point why we're here.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's so important, no matter what we're doing, is to try and have fun, because that's all a part of the enjoyment, isn't it? And our inner childs inside of us, you know, that crave for that, because even this adulthood in general, you know, and the responsibilities with that can take away from, you know, all this fun that we had as children growing up. And I think that's inside of us. And always that whole term of keeping young at heart, I think that's all about that, isn't it? Keeping that inner child in you, you know, happy and smiling, because no matter what we do. And I've always done that regardless of the different jobs I've had and situations I'm in, is to try and have a laugh and lighten the mood a little. So, you know, that brings a bit of enjoyment into my life and other people's lives. So
yeah, that's great.
I think that's really important.
Because when we're young, we quite often tend to have hobbies. We go out and play. You're always meeting new people. And that's actually stuff that's like fundamental for humans. But as we get older, we think, oh, you know, that's only stuff for kids. And then we wonder why we're so miserable. It's because all we're doing is working. So you need to bring that, like, you know, whatever lights you up, go do it. Variety, go meet new people, go make new friends when you're 40, go like try a new hobby when you're 50.
Yeah, and what was important, what you said earlier about the kind of outside noise that has such an influence on decisions we make and the focuses we have in life. I mean, sometimes unrealistic expectations about goals we set for ourselves, determined by our age and things like that. And I think it's difficult because obviously, going back to the whole child, as children, you're soaking up all this, we're taking in information, aren't we, constantly?
Yeah.
Once we come into our own as adults, it's trying to unlearn all of that. So all this that external noise and things we've been told we should be doing and the way we should behave. So it's hard. And then until we really discover ourselves, can we really tune out and really just listen to us and what's really guiding us, like our intuition and things like that. So
yeah, 100%. I've always said, like, your childhood is for learning and then the rest of your adulthood is unlearning. It's so weird because you don't realize, but that's normally the things holding you back. So yeah, I mean, awareness is just vital for actually finding what makes you happy and block everyone else out.
Which is hard because a lot of the time people we really care about,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a people
Yeah.
pleaser quite often. So my natural thing is to make sure other people are okay. And I didn't realize that that was stopping me living my life. So yeah, it's not easy, but it's worth it.
So talk to me about what success means to you, Mac.
Success to me means happiness. I don't view it as money and status because those things are transient. They can come and go and they're not within your power and they don't make you happy. Stats show like they don't make you happy in the long term. Happiness for me is not like some idealized film version. It's I think made up of a few things for me, which is that you're proud of your impact in the world. You feel like you're important and you're making some positive difference to the world. And I think we need that to give our lives purpose. And that might be through your career, it might be what you do outside of that, or just people you connect with. But I think having some sort of positive impact on the world that you're proud of is vital to being successful in life. I think, as we were talking about, accepting yourself and understanding yourself, because true success is like ownership over yourself, ownership over your own emotions, and being able to receive that, love and happiness and everything like that. The next one I would say is like a massive part of being happy is the deep connections. So I think you're successful if you've got deep loving connections with people, and that's not necessarily in a romantic sense, that's in all sense of the word, and that comes from understanding yourself, and then you tend to meet people who are a lot more like-minded to you as well. And so I think, yeah, that's a massive part. And then, as we said before, like contentment and joy. So to feel truly successful, if you could look at someone who has a multi-million-pound business and they might look super successful, but if they're not happy and they're constantly just working and not having any fun in their life, then I don't view it as true success. I think true success comes from having that sense of joy in your life as well as a purpose. So I think for me that's what success is. What about you? What do you think?
I think you've touched on the important things, and I used to be in jobs that paid really well, and I thought, yeah, this is success, and wearing the latest pair of Jordans or whatever. It was that time, like the phases I was going through in my life. Going out to the fanciest restaurants and the fanciest nightclubs, the whatever, and then you realize, like, was I really happy? When you look back at it, it's just like, I wasn't really happy. So like you said, having those successful connections in your life, maybe it could be romantic or friends, family, doing something that makes you feel proud, and you can look back and say, look, I'm glad I did this, because along that journey I made others feel better, and I helped others along that way and along that path, and I'm doing something and I think that the proud thing, and having some type of leaving some type of legacy where you can move on, you can go on and whatever, but people remember for what you did and how you made them feel, most importantly, along the way. So success is about doing something that you're passionate about. We talked about making a difference and something that's worthwhile, and you can actually say, yeah, look, I'm glad I've done that and the impact I made. And yes, I may not be the richest man on earth, but I'll tell you what, people have been rich with happiness and the love I showed them along that way. So for me, that's success for me, and that's all changed. And as I said, that's life experience. Why that's so important for the role you do, and knowing yourself and doing a lot of, like me, I've seen therapists and things for that inner work, and dealing with a lot of childhood trauma and things like that I experienced. So it's important to find myself and really look within, because I was a people pleaser as well. So I just wanted everyone around me to be happy, and then when I looked within, I was empty.
Yeah.
There was nothing left in my cup.
Yeah.
I'd let everyone drink from it.
Yeah.
So when I went to look to have a drink myself, it was an empty cup. I was just like,
like, oh, no. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's important, you know, and things like being selfish, it's not a negative term. That's not a negative term. We need to put ourselves first. We need to focus on that self-love, and you know, to grow that self-worth, sense of self-worth. You know, if we're not focused on ourselves, how can we be the best versions of ourselves? And you know, your best relationship should be with you.
Yeah.
Not with others, or partner, or a husband, a wife, whatever. It needs to be of you first.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I agree.
We shouldn't look for validation from others. No, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have compliments and to be appreciated, of course.
Mm.
You know, we need to give ourselves that first.
Yeah, it's a weird thing because when you're young, you know, you just go through life and you don't have to double think anything. And then as you got older, I think I had a few years where I was resisting that, but then realized you have to work to love yourself. It doesn't just come to you naturally. Like, you have to work to understand yourself. I always find it so bizarre that we are us, but we don't know who we are. And you have to spend your whole life learning that and accepting it. And so, yeah, you really have to work on it. But I was exactly the same as you. I used to think success was, like, my first job was at a bank and I was on 4:30. I was wearing pencil skirts, going out to brunch and you know, fancy places, spending loads of money on holidays and whatever. And then and I was bored and not happy. Yeah. So just, I think success is just doing what's aligned to you as a person. But yeah, as you said, it doesn't come easy.
It doesn't. How important is it for us to find our purpose?
It's really important. I think sometimes the word, you know, like life purpose or whatever can seem a bit like pie in the sky, woo, like not everyone believes in it. Not everyone believes that everyone does have a purpose. Yeah. So you can look at it from the spiritual side or even just matter of fact. But matter of fact wise, like loads of studies show that people with a sense of purpose live longer. They're 20% less likely to have heart attacks and strokes. They're way less likely to have mental health issues. It affects loneliness, because loneliness is often not actually about being alone, it's about feeling misunderstood. So if you understand yourself a lot more, you have that relationship with yourself, you also have a purpose to your days, so you have something to occupy your brain and put your time and effort into, and you're more likely to meet people who are similar minded. So it has loads of health benefits, so real tangible things backed by science, but also just for yourself. I mean, I know the difference in myself before I found my purpose and after. And when I say find your purpose, like, some people have lots of purposes. Some people's purposes change over time as they grow. And some people's purpose isn't, you know, what they make as their main career, but it might be something that motivates them in their daily life. But it's finding the things that are really important to you and taking steps day by day to come closer to that, and having that focal point, that goal that really drives you. So yeah, it's super important, and just helps you get more enjoyment out of life. Because I'm not everyone has this feeling, but I always had a feeling of I'm not doing what I was put on this earth to do. I'm not this can't be what it's all about. You know, look how amazing everything is and how complex everything is. And then I'm just stuck here behind a desk writing a PowerPoint document for like the 10th time in this week. I was like, this can't be what it's about. And so, yeah, I think finding what it is about for you gives, you know, when people say, what's the meaning of life? I think like you make your own meaning, and your purpose is that meaning for you and your impact. So yeah, I mean, for me and many of my clients, it's been absolutely life-changing and just makes you so much more happy, and ultimately this is what we're all looking for.
Yeah, no, definitely, there's so much there I could relate. I've pictured my 20 years in retail management and doing the various roles, and just waking up some mornings. And don't get me wrong, I excelled. So, you know, manager of the year and all sorts of accolades along the way. So obviously I was really good at it, but I didn't enjoy it. I wake up every morning and just think, what the hell am I doing this for? I'm making these owners of these companies richer. I'm not getting richer. I earned a decent wage, but you know, some of them were on yachts in Saint-Tropez and things like that. You know, so you have to look at your life. And I was so, the fear of not leaving that, because I was good at it and it was my comfort zone. You know, I remember being there and just like, I can't leave, because what if I'm gonna suck at the next thing? You know what would people say? You know, they've known me as this. You see that whole thing again, the external factors. Know me as this, you know, retail specialist, you know, who at Christmas and their birthdays they get, you know, clothing from that particular brand or whatever. So they're used to it. They see me, that I'm identified as this to them. So breaking all of that and just coming out of it. And I remember how difficult that was. So yeah, it's finding yourself, and that's the biggest thing, is finding yourself. So we can talk about careers and things like that, but you know, you need to find yourself first.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, if you're doing a career, you know, like some people really attach their identity, most people attach their identity to their career, and it's like, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer. One of the first questions you ask people when you meet them is, oh, what do you do?
There you go.
And it's like, it shouldn't be what do you do, because it's so detached from actually who you are as a person. And then what happens if you're not a doctor? Like, you're still you. So yeah, it's vital to kind of uncover what you are beyond all the what people think you are and what you've told yourself you are. But that's the main thing my clients come to me feeling stuck and scared to change, because they don't want to start from the bottom. They're scared of taking a pay cut, and it looks outwardly like a step down, because you know, you're not going to be progressing up the promotion ladder for just a few quid more each year or whatever. So it feels scary, but often people do way better in the long run, because when you're actually doing work that lights you up and suits your natural talents and suits your interests, you just work so much harder. You're a lot more successful in it. So it feels like a step down and it feels scary, but in the long run, the scarier thing is to stay where you are unhappy, and just settling. And like you said, like, only the top people make big dollar. The rest of you're just small cogs in a big machine, and doing your own thing, you can have real impact, be a lot happier, and earn a lot more money and be more successful. So it seems scarier, but it's actually the better option in the long run.
That's it, isn't it? We don't see that at the time though, do we?
No.
So what advice would you give to someone who hasn't found their purpose?
Firstly, don't give up, because I had this feeling in me for years, and then you hit a point where you're like, maybe it's not possible for everyone, but I really believe that it is. And so yeah, do not give up. The second bit I would say is, so all my programs tend to follow a structure of finding awareness. So that's everything we've spoken about, is understanding yourself. So that's coaching on your limiting beliefs, understanding what you see as the world is your perception, and a lot of it is opinions, and it's not necessarily truth. So uncovering that sort of awareness piece. Next is alignment, because once you've understood what actually makes you happy, drives you, then aligning your life to that. So bringing more of the things you enjoy into your life, the things you're good at, developing those skills. You know, like, quite often people don't want to try a new career because they're like, oh, I'm not good at that, or I don't know what to do. And it's like, well, that's the whole point. You start and you learn. Like, no one starts off as an expert. You all have to start somewhere. So that exploration a piece and bringing more of that into your life. And then the next part is action. So like actually getting stuck in, like try new activities, speak to as many people as possible, take some online courses, see if you like that, see if you don't. And it's all a learning experience, but you can't think your way out of the problem. Like you do need to get out there and try. So yeah, that's the reason I've structured all my programs that way, but that's also how I found my purpose and most people I've spoken to, because you can't, quite often people jump a few steps and they go straight for the job board and they go to look at jobs and they don't find any that they like. But you should start with yourself first, because if you don't actually know what you really want and what really drives you, you can look at a job and think, oh yeah, that looks cool, and then you'll do it and it still won't be right for you. So don't even look at a job board until you focus on yourself first, and explore and try, and then once you know that, then actually approach things.
Great advice.
You're welcome.
Mac, I'd like to thank you very much for your time. I know you're a very busy person, so I'm grateful to get you.
Always got time for you.
Some great tips and advice there. And where can people find you?
So I'm on every platform pretty much. On Instagram, I'm Mac_career_coach, and pretty much the same on LinkedIn, TikTok, etc. But if you're searching, it's Mac the Career Coach. And yeah, and then for anyone at the moment, I'm offering 1 hour free coaching sessions. I'm trying to do some market research to understand everyone a bit better. So it'll be a 20-minute section of asking potential clients, you know, what they're looking for and their struggles along their journey, and in return 40 minutes of free career coaching for anyone that's listening and then wants to get involved.
Sounds amazing. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. People, please like, share and subscribe, and see you soon.